A New Orleans police officer facing violent criminal charges is fired after a 4-year investigation.
Police officer Larry King Jr. has one of the longest disciplinary files in the NOPD, and in April, WWL Chief Investigator David Hammer questioned why he was still active on the force.
Yeah, now King has been fired, and David, you're joining us to explain what changed, what happened.
Right, well, I started these stories early this year, and I came across Officer Larry King's public disciplinary file while investigating several NOPD officers who had been arrested for drunk driving. Like the others, King had a DWI conviction, but I soon discovered that was the least of his issues.
Here's 2018.
In April, local police watchdog and UNO professor Skip Gallagher questioned why Officer Larry King Jr. was still on the NOPD. After all, King already had one of the longest, most egregious disciplinary records of anyone on the force. 18 sustained violations over a span of 12 years, including a DWI, where King was caught in this body cam video driving his motorcycle drunk on the Huey P. Long Bridge on a suspended license and expired registration.
That one expired in 2019.
Internal police investigators also found King turned off his body-worn camera while failing to take police action and failed to turn on his camera while using unauthorized force.
It's not just a DWI. He's got other criminal past.
An allegedly violent criminal past. Records show King was arrested in Jefferson Parish and charged in 2009, accused of trying to force this pistol in his wife's mouth, hitting her, biting her, and choking her. The police report included photos of his wife's injuries, but then she stopped cooperating with prosecutors and the charges were dropped.
I understand when you don't testify. I understand. You just want it to go away. You want to be done with it. You don't want to relive it again. You want to run away and hide in a corner.
Then, in 2021, Jefferson Parish prosecutors charged King with domestic abuse again. NOPD's own internal investigation took 4 years, finally wrapping up this July. Gallagher got that investigative report, and it's damning.
Even now, it still gets me upset how someone can treat someone else that horrifically. I think the public will never appreciate how bad this domestic assault was. Without reading the whole thing.
The report says King's wife got home from the hospital in late 2019 after suffering a stroke. She alleged King then started beating her daily. She said she needed emergency surgery after King allegedly slammed her head into the walls and floor. She alleged King pointed his gun at her in their home, then shot into the wall near her. Their adult daughter then confronted King about her mother's injuries, and the daughter alleged King grabbed her by the neck and applied pressure to the point she thought she was going to pass out. The daughter alleged King then pointed his gun at her and her mother and said, "I did it to her, and I can kill both of you and get away with it."
The report is very thorough. It provides details that are so disturbing that how anyone can treat another person like that, never mind your wife and your daughter.
Finally, this August, King faced a disciplinary hearing in front of NOPD chiefs. The morning of the hearing, King retained police union attorney Ted Alpaugh. He had little to offer in King's defense.
So I've not represented him through this entire saga. And we did some things that Craig Fowler would have told him not to. Why do they criminal state? Unfortunately, that's where we are. We have a criminal state. And the other thing is this has been going on since 2019. And it's not flabbergasted that they've done before that.
Even his own attorney made reference to how long it had taken.
And in this particular case, this officer managed to make 20 years. He's going to receive a pension.
So why now? Why was this finally dealt with?
I think I have two reasons for that. One is because that officer made press in your piece. The press is so important. Without the press, I really wonder where our country would be sometimes. And without people like yourself revealing this, I think I'm worried nothing would happen. Now, I do think there's another component. The new chief has been cleaning house a bit. There has been more terminations than have been seen in years.
Gallagher compiled police employment records showing that in 2022 and 2023, just one NOPD officer was fired. But in 2024, Ann Kirkpatrick's first full year as superintendent, she fired 9 officers and 16 more through the first 8 months of 2025.
Isn't that because the force is so depleted?
I think there is a little bit of that.
Gallagher says Kirkpatrick is taking a different tack to keep good officers on the force.
What I hope is the case is by removing these officers who are sort of corrupting the force, the officers that remain who are good, doing their job, trying to do a good job, will stay.
The other problem has been civil service protections. Records show King was fired in 2016, but to settle his civil service appeal, the city agreed to reinstate King and even gave him some back pay.
And they turn around and put that officer back on the street.
One thing that still hasn't been resolved, King's criminal trial in Jefferson Parish. It was supposed to start in May until a key witness was hospitalized.
Should some of these officers be in jail? Yeah, but I'd be happy just to make sure they're not on the force anymore. They're not carrying a badge and a gun.
So Larry King's criminal trial in Jefferson Parish is set for December 8th. He also has a hearing in January to appeal his firing.
Oh, those accusations, first of all, are shocking, to say the least. You mentioned how the NOPD is depleted and has been struggling. We've talked about that to keep good officers there, but it seems like Ann Kirkpatrick is really not worried.
Yeah, well, she has clearly been way more aggressive than her predecessors in firing officers, and she's now been saying that she's going to take a new method of keeping people off the street, officers off the street, while they're going through that disciplinary process of termination.
Because 4 years, whoa.
Very long time, and the incidents go back to 2019 even further.
Yeah, all right. Thanks so much, David. We know you're going to keep tabs on that for us in the future. Yep.